Welcome to Woodland Permaculture. I'm Jenny Wood, and today I have a very special treat. Today is going to be my official 1-year update of my permaculture food forest. So yeah, it's been a little longer than a year. Things kind of got out of hand and I've been busy, and this has gotten put off a couple of months. But this is about where I am about a year after I started on my permaculture garden. I'm going to take you on a tour very similar to the one that I did March of last year, which was my very first permaculture video showing you a before-scape of my entire yard. And I will also put in some inset photographs from that video to show you side by side what my yard looks like now compared to what it looked like a year ago. I will also link to that first video if you'd like to look at it a little more in depth to kind of see how far I've come. It's pretty exciting, and I've come a long way, but I still have a long way to go. So hopefully this annual update will be a real annual thing. So here's where we start. In front of my house, about a year after I've started my permaculture food forest. And here I will also put up a picture of what this looked like about a year or so ago. As you can see, it was a lot more bare. There was a lot less things, a lot fewer things in my yard than there are now. Let's come in a little closer so you can see. One of the main things I talked about last year when I first did this video was what was happening down at the bottom of this tree. Compared to last year, this is looking a lot better. Last year, you can see the picture. This area was very bare. It didn't have any plants in it except for some old dry dead grass. And the soil was very dry, cracked, and compacted. And now I have infused it with some mycorrhizae, as I talked about in my first video. And I planted some things and of course covered it with cardboard and mulch and compost, which is exactly what I plan to do, and hopefully that will continue to help the soil to get a lot better. Now some of my plants are not doing as well as I would like them to do. You might be able to see those, but hopefully I will be able to replace those with ones that will do better. Let's see, one thing that I didn't really show you last year was this area here, because right here, this was all driveway. We took out this half of the driveway, which of course could have been used for an RV or another car or whatever, but I didn't want any of that, and we only have one small car that we always park in the garage, and so I made it into part of my permaculture food forest. There's my wonderful Jacaranda tree. So excited, it's doing well and it's growing. My goji berries are doing the best of any of my plants. You can see those berries are really growing. Blackberry back there, and some other rosemary and black-eyed Susans here, and there's a little currant back there. And my fig tree that someone gave me is doing really well now. Lots of new beautiful leaves, and it's even given me some small figs, so I'm excited about that. We'll get to this area in a few minutes, but you can see how different it looks than it would have been if it was just a driveway. And then this is another view that I gave you from last year of my yard. And as you can see, it is very different. There's a lot more growing in my yard now. I have a pond back there, which we'll get a better look at in a minute. I've got my banana tree and a lemon tree and all kinds of plants in here that I'm trying to make them look beautiful. Here's a couple over here that I'd like to show you. This is a native monkey flower plant. I've got another one behind me too. And this right here I'm very excited about. I haven't shown you this yet. This is a tiny young Manzanita tree. This is going to grow and fill out this entire corner area with a gorgeous tree that is also native to California and good for our environment and for the fauna in our area. And here's my lemon tree guild, which could be doing a lot better. My fennel, of course, is doing great. I hear that's actually invasive, so I'm not going to plant anymore, and I'm going to try and harvest all of the seeds so that I can use them for cooking and salads, which I've already been doing. They're delicious. And so that it doesn't spread too much. There's my lemon tree, which has had some problems, but it does have some new growths now, and hopefully I'll be able to get it to do much better next year. And then some herbs down here. There's some chamomile and some thyme and a tiny little parsley. That was much bigger, but it died back and now it's growing again. And some more thyme. So that's my lemon tree guild. I did a video about that a long time ago. Here's my wonderful banana tree. I love my banana tree. It is growing and getting more leaves all the time. Some rosemary here. And these down here are some lamb's ears that I planted, and they are just thriving. I love these guys. Aren't they gorgeous? And they shoot up with some beautiful flowers too that smell like grapes. And what I love about these, the leaves are so soft that if there was ever another toilet paper shortage, I could use these leaves as for toilet paper. Yes. Oh, and look, check it over here. I have my almond tree that I planted a few months ago. It's a more slower growing one, but it is getting new leaves, and it seems to be doing well. Two more currant bushes down here. And I don't think I want to talk about my elderberry. I think I've lost my elderberry. I'm going to have to replace that. I can't win them all, can I? I've lost a lot of things that I'm unhappy about, and you guys already know about that if you've watched my recent videos. But there's a couple of oregano plants that are doing pretty well. All right, let's take a look at the pond. The pond is probably my crowning achievement in my food forest. Look at this pond. I'm so excited for it. The plants are just growing and thriving and doing so well. They're doing a really good job of shading the pond, although I still get a lot of algae that I have to clean out every day. And then if you can see down in there, I've got some beautiful fish. Oh, come on, fish. See, it's hard to see them because of the plants. There they are. There they are, my beautiful orange goldfish. And I have one koi. And the other kind of fish I have in here, I don't know if you can see them, are some little mosquito fish. And they are thriving as well. They had dwindled down to about 8 larger fish, but then they all had babies, and now there's like hundreds of little baby fish. So I'm excited about that. Let's see what else we can show you from over here. My bench. Oh yes, we talked about in the first video, this area right here. It was a rock garden. Well, okay, it was a patch full of river rocks. And now it's all dug up. It is waiting to be able to put in a gray water system. I have a contractor who's doing some research for me, and I want to put down a tank so that I can capture all the good gray water from my home and use it to water my yard out here, which really I needed because I'm not getting enough water right now to my front yard. And then there's also the front box area. Last year, here I'll put up a picture. You can see that last year this was just those 2 geranium plants, one of which is really big now, and all of the sweet alyssum around it. And I didn't do too much with this really. I put a couple of pots in there, and I've put some different plants in the pots, some aloe and some other succulents over here. I love this is technically a little strawberry pot my daughter gave me, but I wanted it for succulents to display them. I wasn't ever really into succulents, but I've gotten enough of them for free from people that I figured I better display them. And then in here I've got, I cannot remember the name of that plant in the back, but this right here is lemon basil. Smells lovely. And those guys are thriving now that I've got water to them. Down here, whoops, my flag. Down here I have some mint, as you can see right there. I made sure to keep it kind of contained in this front box. I hear that stuff is really invasive, so I'm trying to keep it from taking over everything. And these lovely little flowers that my neighbor gave me, I planted those up here in the box as well. and those are doing really well. I love that. And then over here, where you see there's really a lot of weeds and a couple of lavender plants right here. Right around here is where that butterfly bush was. And we ended up having to take that butterfly bush out when we had our pool put in the backyard because it was in the way. And also, of course, there's all the pathways. All the pathways that I put in around and through the middle of the yard and by the pond. I put all of those in, you guys saw me do that. And then here is the waterfall for the pond. So exciting. And so, oh, and right here, last year there was a lilac bush. I showed you a video of that and told you that we were going to take that out to move the fence and the gate, which is what we did. And we put in the greenhouse right in that space. So sorry, that's my neighbor's dog. Such a great dog. We love that dog, but he does like to bark at me. And so that's my little greenhouse and my porch. And then here is just one last view of the front yard. And I have another picture to share to show you the difference from this view, what the yard looked like from here compared to what it looks like now. And then we will go around to the back. Hold on. All right, here's the section I told you I would show you again. And I have a picture of this one to compare it to. You can see that it was just a driveway last time. And now it is a pathway and the gate. And I have put in 2 great plants over here. And eventually I'd love to trellis them over this pathway, so with a nice arch, to make a nice grape arch. And then I have room over here for some more things that I will plant over here as well. The next part is the side yard, and I almost hesitate to show it to you because this part I have not gotten to yet. Here is this side yard, and actually looks worse than it did last year, so we're going to zip through this. But I do have my rainwater capture system here. So I am very happy about that, and when it does rain, it works very well and captures rain for me, and I have used that rainwater. So as you can see, I haven't really done anything with this. In fact, there's a lot of weeds here now and some junk, some old sacks of gravel. So eventually I will get to this part and make it beautiful too. And then we come to a very interesting part, and that's the patio. The patio that was built perpendicular to our house instead of parallel to it, so I never did understand that. But we are very excited for how we've worked with this and how we've been able to make it a wonderful space for us. If you remember, over to the right of what is now our shed, was a big giant shed. And I'll put in a picture showing you the patio, that it was bare, and then there was a big giant shed right there. Well, we did take out that shed so that I could have more gardening space, and we ended up using the back section of the patio as the shed. So if you compare the pictures of the patio from last year to this year, you'll see there, last year you could see 2 ceiling fans, and now you can only see 1 because the last one is really inside of our enclosed patio, which is our shed. And then we also, for Father's Day, I got Andy, my hubby, a tiki bar that he absolutely loves. So now we have a little tiki bar and just some regular furniture to make this space just a wonderful place to hang out and to have guests. And then here is the backyard. So the backyard, we love spending time back here in our backyard. And of course, probably our favorite part is the pool, but I won't talk too much about that. Sorry that is not a part of my permaculture food forest. It is a separate element, and the chemicals in the pool are kept very separate, and we try and keep all of anything or chemical from it from getting into the rest of the food forest yard. But around it is patio, and last year you will note that this was all just dead and dying grass. And now I have a patio, which is a permaculture because it allows water to seep through, and well, I tried to plant plants in it, but that didn't work, so we stopped that. But then over here you can see that where a good portion of my food forest is. And you've seen me develop a lot of this over the videos. Those trees there on the left are my 3 stone fruits that are all planted in one hole. So I have my Santa Rosa plum, a Flavor King pluot, and then a peach, a lovely peach. So I'm very excited about that. Down here along the edge of the pool, I'm actually pretty excited about this section. This sweet alyssum that's down here, I actually transplanted those from the front yard, from the sweet alyssum in the box in the front yard. I just took little bits of it and planted it there, and it has just grown and merged together to make like one nice little section right there. And these are sage plants, these lovely green ones right here. I planted those as seeds last year, or actually probably earlier in the spring, and those are growing and doing really well. And I do have a couple of rosemary plants right there. They are growing much more slowly. I think that they normally do just grow more slowly. And this is finally my first marigold that I've been able to get to grow. So finally, a marigold. And then over here, more tomato plants, but none of my tomatoes are really producing any tomatoes. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this guy. I may take him out. I did have another tomato right next to him that did give me some lovely yellow pear-shaped plums. They were really good. Here's some other plants, some borage right there, and then I can't remember what kind of plant that one is, but it's doing well. And then some other lovely purple flowers. Oh, look at a little moth or a butterfly there. And my neighbor gave me those. And then I've got some, what are the monarch butterfly plants? Come on, you guys know what these are called. I can't remember. But I've got 2 of these, one that my friend Mary gave me and another one that I purchased, and they are doing well. And then here's my grapefruit tree. And the grapefruit tree is also kind of slow growing. It's struggling with the heat still, but it's doing much better. And then here's a basil plant that I planted, and it is just thriving. It's just growing and growing. And there's some lovely basil. Very good. And then along the back wall here, I've planted some different flowers, some of which are blooming, but some are still not wanting to bloom. I don't know why. But if you remember from last year, from that video, I'll get another picture from back there. We wanted to kind of cover this with vines and stuff so that it could be covered up, so that we can cover up the wall and its ugliness. But let me see if I can get a picture more from back here. And then over here is a cucumber that is doing very well. And I actually got 2 cucumbers from it already. And let's see, there is another cucumber in here growing. Let me see if I can find it. It's got a bunch of white flies. Oh, there's a little one. Oh, look, a praying mantis. Do you see that? Oh, I love the praying mantis. Good, we need you because I've got white flies. Take care of those. Excellent. And then, oh, I hate to talk about my cherry tree. I lost my cherry tree. This was my 4-in-1. But it did not survive my abuse. And then this is also looking very poorly, I'm just now noticing. I know it should be getting water because I've got drip line to it. I'm going to have to shade it and make sure it's getting enough water. But yeah, that's a Concord grape right there. Hopefully I can save that. And then over here is my female pistachio tree. She's doing pretty well, and a couple of morning glories that I'm hoping will climb up this wall right here and that fence. And then of course you guys have seen my fire pit. You saw me make my fire pit. So that is back here in the corner. And so I'm very excited about that. I've got a nice elephant ear plant in the pot that's doing fairly well. I have to water that one by hand. And then here's my apple tree. Well, the last time you saw the apple tree, it was dormant, and now it's the middle of summer. It's like August. And so it has got apples all over it, and they are getting nice and big and will probably be ripening in the next couple of months. So I'm excited about that. And there's a little more of the fire pit pathway here. And then right here is another tiki bar looking thing, but really what it is a wall that surrounds the pool equipment to hide the pool equipment. But that's another thing my hubby wanted, and it looks fun. It really helps tie together the whole backyard. And some more of my pathway, and then right over here, oh, this is another pistachio, but this is the male pistachio. It's really not in the right place. I am going to put this where the 4-in-1 cherry tree is, so that it can fertilize my female when the time comes. And then, okay, this part here also looks like a wreck. This is my side yard. The other side yard, you see my greenhouse down there in the back. And this is my workspace. So yes, it looks messy, but that's okay. I'm okay with it looking messy because I've got my compost piles here. And check this out. My compost pile is actually pretty warm. It was even warmer earlier today. Look at that. It's up to almost 100 degrees there. Now earlier today it was up to 120, 130, but I think it was because the sun was on it. But then I have another compost pile which is pretty much done. It's just got a bunch of sticks in it, but I can pretty much use that, I think. And then just some more workspace. Down here I did plant a few plants. They should be getting water, but they are not doing well. So I have to double check, make sure they're getting the water they need. And I may have to replace some of them because I think they're gone. But this guy, now this guy is happy. This is a volunteer, and I looked him up. He's a purslane. And a lot of people will say he's just a weed, and he's covering up the drip system equipment there. But it is edible. And these leaves are actually very, very tender and tasty. And so I'm keeping them. I have like 3 volunteers like that in my yard. Now I'm going to keep them and save them as part of my permaculture food forest. Here's my other rain drip system over here on this side of the yard. So I've got it coming from on 2 different places. So I get 4 50-gallon barrels out of that. And then here is a view of the whole backyard as it is now, 1 year later. And I've got another view of it, a picture of it from what it looked like last year at this time. And as you can see, I've come a long way. We've gotten a lot done. I still have a whole lot more to do. And then right up here on the pathway, you can see a little deck. I love this deck. This is part of our renovations on the house. This back door was not here, neither was the back door over there. You can remember from the other video, there were no back doors back here. It was just one gray wall with 1 window, 2 windows in it. But we have put in another box window and 2 back doors. And this back door right here got a little deck. And even though the pool is not permaculture, I refinished and stained the wood deck in all organic natural substances. What was it? Walnut oil and a combination of beeswax and another kind of oil. So trying to stay organic, trying to stay natural in the places that I can. But I'm very excited. I have a long way to go. I was very discouraged about different parts of our journey this year, but things are looking up right now, and I've got a lot more potential for the rest of my food forest. This was the view I wanted to show you with the wall. See, we need to obscure that wall. It's beginning to get obscured by trees and plants and stuff, and I hope to have more vines and things growing on it so that we can obscure that ugly wall. But otherwise, it looks pretty good, and we are very happy with it. And I am still loving permaculture, and I'm still very happy with it, and I'm learning so much, and I am so grateful that you're coming along with me on this journey. I'm so grateful that I have people who also care about permaculture, who are interested in what I'm doing. And so thank you so much for watching and for viewing and for supporting me and for helping me to still feel encouraged. Thanks so much. You guys take care, and God bless.